So in this short episode, I want to share with you an app that I've discovered that is so simple, it's ridiculous, but it really will improve my workflow. So let's go and take a look. So I've got an edit going on here. This app is called Mononodes, and what it does, it's an advanced note-taking system. So it allows me to mark points that I want to work on later. So let me show you what I mean. So for example, let's say I wanted to shorten this edit, but I don't want to do it quite yet. I'm working on something else. So I put a little mark in there. And maybe I don't want to shorten it, maybe I want to replace it with the wide shot. So wide shot here, something like that. And then I'd go through all the marks that I've made and work my way through them. So if you go to the three dots up here, there's your marker list and you just start working your way through them. That's all good and well, but let me show you Mononodes. So Mononodes is a separate application. So you need to go to the mononodes.com website, and there under the app section, you'll see it in there. And it comes with two elements. You've got Mononodes and this EDL editor, which I'm going to show you what that does in a moment. This is really cool. So there is a free trial available. It is a paid app. So if you're someone who doesn't like paid apps particularly, then, I don't know, go and watch one of my playlists or something. But if you are still interested, I'll show you exactly how it works. So I'm going to grab my Mononodes from here and let's just expand it out a bit. Let's take the menu off. And let's say, for example, this shot here, I want to add some flame sound effects a bit later. So I'm going to say add flame sound effects, and that is now a Mononodes, and it sticks with the clip. So if I move that clip in the edit point, it's attached to the actual clip, not the timeline timecode. All right, that's an example in the edit page. Let's have a look at the color page. So in here, what I traditionally do, if I want to work on my grade, but there's particular things I want to do later, like might be some advanced effects or some keying or something like that, I create a little bin called to fix later. And all I do is I right hand click in it and grab a still. And then I work my way through that list. But with Mononodes, I can just do it in a much more simple way. So let me find something. There's a shot of a TV back here, this shot here. And let's imagine we're going to replace the image that's in there. So I'm just going to put in here, replace TV image. This is something I want to do later, not during the grade. And you notice that this one gets a thumbnail. That's because it's been created in the color page. Now, the one in the edit page, if I go to the menu here, I can go down to the bottom. You've got a few options in here. And what I can actually do is say rebuild thumbnails, go back to the menu, and now we've got the thumbnail for the flame sound effects. So if I click on that, it goes to the right point. That's where I want to add my flame sound effects. Let's go to the TV image, and it's there. Once I've worked on the shot, all you've got to do is press the number here, and that is now disabled Mononodes, or you can press the X here and completely get rid of it. And let's just add another one. So let's say in here, maybe I want to comp in some extra flames. So comp flame. And that's now another Mononodes. Now what else you can do is you can highlight these a particular color. So it makes it a lot easier to find. So if I go to my menu and go to mark notes, so you can change things like the font size and the thumbnails. But if I go to mark notes here, I can actually select a color. So say orange and apply to all. Come back out of my menu, there they are. But if I now go to Lightbox, what we can do is highlight all our orange clips, and there's the three shots that we want to apply our special effects to at a later point in time. So it's a really fantastic, really quick way of working without having to use markers and grabbing stills. So now let's have a look at how this works in a more advanced way. So if I'm doing a grade and it's not a client attend, what I'll often do is upload the graded file to something like Frame.io. What we can do with Mononodes is import that data from Frame.io and have it applied directly on the timeline. So let me show you. So this is from a real job, and you can see just how many notes I kind of get from a client session. So there's about 30 or 40 notes there. So I want a really efficient way of being able to interpret those in DaVinci Resolve on the actual timeline. So let's have a look at a more simple version of that. So what I've done, I've uploaded this job to Frame.io, and I've just made some notes. I've made these personally, but just so you can see, there's probably 2, 4, 6, there's about 7 notes here. And what I can do is just click in here and say export the comments to Resolve. It creates an EDL, okay? And you can then import that EDL into DaVinci Resolve timeline. Go to the edit page, click on the job itself, right click timeline and say import timeline markers from EDL. And there's the timeline markers. So all the information's come in, but there's too much information with it. If I show you what's happening in the markers list, you've got my name, you've got the times created, and then the note itself. Let's do that in an easier way. Let's get rid of those timeline markers. So let's open up the EDL editor. And let's open up the EDL. So this is the same one from Frame.io. And you see here's all the extra information, but we can start trimming that down using these options. So we can remove the number markers, we can shorten the author name, we can remove the date. In fact, we can actually remove the author. And this has given us a much slimmer EDL. So that's before and that's after. Now all we've got to do is connect with the timeline that we're in Resolve, and press send. Obviously you can choose the marker color as well here. We can even export this as a PDF. So if you like the look of this app and you want to try it out, there's a free trial at mononodes.com. If you want to purchase it, I can get you 10% discount. Just put the code Darren at checkout. It gives you 10% off any DCTL or any of the apps at mononodes.com. So now let's have a look on our timeline, and there is our markers. So now if we look at the marker list, you'll see that it's much cleaner. And just click on it. And there we go, more contrast, less bright. Now what's really useful here is I can import that EDL list into Mononotes, so I've got a visual representation of all the notes from the client. Bear in mind, this is just 7. There might actually be 30 or 40 like you saw in the previous example. So if I click on the menu here, we can go import timeline markers as notes. And we go back to the menu, and there is all our notes with the thumbnail as well, giving you a much easier way of working through the client changes that you need. So add flame sound effects is there. Let's go and see what they've done here. So they've put too bright in the background. Let's have a look at that shot. And it is indeed too bright in the background. So a really great way of working. Once you've done it, just click on the number and you know that you've finished that note. Then what we can do, if you want, we can go to the menu. We can actually export this as a PDF. So we can export a PDF out of there. And we just say save to that. And let me show you what that looks like. You get this really nice PDF. So this is a really easy thing to send to your client to show exactly what's happening. So you can see just how simple and effective this app is. If you go to mononodes.com, you can download a free trial version of it. It's fully working, but it limits you to 10 notes only. If you want to buy any DCTL or app from the mononodes.com website, use the code Darren to get yourself 10% discount. Look after yourselves, and I'll see you in the next episode.